everyone. Welcome back to the Awesome Sunday Show. Pat here.
And Connor speaking again. But who else would it be?
Maybe Evan.
Never.
Nah, that's funny. So finally we're talking about Flash again because it's been on like 3 different breaks.
Yeah.
And then...
Dude, like... oh my gosh. Like, dude, this season has been like a bad employee that takes too many breaks at work. Like, you're like, dude, why is that guy... He's been gone like 5 times. Like, where's... Like,
And then it's going on another break in 2 episodes, and then it's gonna be 1 episode, a week break, and then another episode, I think, something like that. I know there's at least 1 more break coming, but CW is doing it to all their shows because they recently did it to Legends of Tomorrow. They took that off air for like 2 weeks. Arrow is on break now again.
I don't get why they're doing this.
Is
it scheduling conflicts or?
I don't know. I honestly. I could have seen 1 break with the Flash for like a week so you could do the Supergirl episode, but even then it was like a couple weeks.
It's annoying. Like, I mean, it's got to be annoying for the people that work on the shows too. It's like, I don't know, like none of the actors are huge on the shows, but like, you know, Grant Gustinson, like he's kind of taken off like as an actor.
He just got a role in William H. Macy's next movie.
Yeah, so. Dude, like this season has been like going on for like how long now? Like 6 months?
It started in October.
Yeah, so longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they film the episodes during the season. Yep. So like how many roles has any of these actors been having to turn down in order to do the show? And like that's not a bad thing because this show is amazing. But dude, if I worked on the show, if I was an actor and like I'd rather just do 1 straight shot of like every day like for 3 months and then okay, I have all these months to work now for other roles.
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous.
I mean, again, I don't know the intricacies of the job and like maybe they do have time for other things and it's just like I'm just overlooking it, but at the same time it's like I know acting and like set production and like that whole aspect of like actually making a television show or even a movie in general like isn't easy and it's very time consuming. They work really long, and it's not like the actors just show up and just start acting. They have to memorize their lines, they have to get into character,
do a lot of rehearsal.
You have to
do a lot of cuts.
Yeah, you have to practice with the other actors. Like it's a job. It is a job, and they treat it like a job. So I don't know. I
just sucks as a fan.
Yeah,
trying to get it, especially the way they've been building up episodes that come then the break happens.
Yeah,
like the episode before this one, or no, the episode 2 episodes ago. The first one we're going to talk about today, episode 16, Trajectory, ended with a huge reveal, and then boom, break for a week, and then. Episode 17, Flashback, again, another big reveal, and then almost a month break.
But like, does this affect the viewership? Like having so many breaks and then having them kind of come out of nowhere? Because I work at Best Buy, and like from season 1 of the Flash, and like or like when the season started, season 2, like people I would talk about the show with people I work with, and they would watch it every week.
Yeah.
And like now I kind of talk to them like, oh yeah, I haven't really caught up on the season. And I want to say that's because of the weird scheduling of this show.
I think it does affect viewership because I'm looking at some numbers right now. And from episode 15 to episode 16, where there was a month-long break, for episode 15, the viewership was 3.8 million. And then for episode 16, when it got back, it was 3 million. And it's not like a million difference, but that's 800,000 viewers. That's still a lot. Then for episode 17, it bumped back up a little bit to 3.39 million. But then last night's episode was just over 3 million. So it definitely does have an effect on it.
Yeah, it's
not to mention it turns fans off.
Yeah, I understand a mid-season break to like refresh and like re-intrigue some viewers. I actually think it's beneficial. I don't like it, but I understand why they do it.
Yeah,
it's like Walking Dead does it. I know Dexter did it, or not Dexter. South Park did it for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know why I got those shows confused. But like, dude, you're taking a break. Like you're doing a bi-weekly thing. Like that's annoying. That's really annoying, especially because like, you know, sometimes like Tuesday nights I might be working. Like I know the show comes out at 9. I sometimes gotta work at 10. So like I get it. Like, I don't. Most of the time, I don't catch the episode when it airs. I'll catch it on demand the next day. But
even though you're not sure if it's on,
I'm not sure if it's on. Like, there's been days the next day where like I'll go on Comcast on demand. Comcast is evil, by the way. And it's like, dude, where is episode 219 or whatever? And it's not there. It's like, oh, but they took a week. It's like, dude, like what? Come on.
I know it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But let's see. There's an episode next week.
There is. Okay.
All right. Actually, there's. Oh, I guess I was wrong. So far it doesn't seem like there's going to be any more breaks.
Good. I don't want there to be any more breaks.
Just
there doesn't need to be any more breaks. Just finish the season.
I know.
And it's like, and also too, there's other TV shows. As much as I love this TV show, there's other shows to watch. And like, I'm sure there's shows that I'm gonna like and or come around Tuesday night on 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock whenever the show airs.
There's not really anything on at 8 o'clock. But you could use it to catch up on other stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's time consuming. I don't know. Like, it's reasons like this why I'd rather binge shows. It's why Breaking Bad, I waited till it was on Netflix and I watched the hell out of it, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. And like, I actually think I enjoyed it more doing that because I don't know, I didn't have to wait. I kind of just was there.
You're just really impatient.
Yeah.
But yeah, the breaks are annoying. But, with all that aside, let's get back into the episodes. So, picking up with episode 16, which is called Trajectory, which is appropriate because the villain of the episode is named Trajectory. In this, we get our first female speedster.
Yeah, she's very good looking.
Yeah, I won't deny that.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's a CW. They're all good looking.
Yeah, I think, any comic book show really, like, they just hire, like, pretty good looking people.
Yeah, like, dude, Daredevil has some, like, really good looking girls on there.
And look at Supergirl herself alone. Yeah, so this episode starts, Team Flash is trying to get Barry faster so he can stop Zoom. And at one part, they have him try and jump over this canyon. It reminded me of the episode of The Simpsons where Homer tries jumping the canyon on the motorcycle.
Yeah, that is
it was
a great
like
episode.
That, except luckily there were some drones with a giant net there to catch Barry before.
Wait, was that the movie or the episode?
It might have happened twice.
Yeah. There's a lot of episodes of The Simpsons. It probably happened like 3 times.
Yeah. So then they try to go out and have some fun. So it's like they end up bringing Wells' daughter out to the club, which is weird that she would even get in.
Yeah, and also
I don't think she's even 21. But
they made fun of her being underage. And like, oh, you're underage, you can't drink, and she's like in a club.
Yeah, and she's still in the club. I guess it must have been ladies' night. Got to get those young girls.
It might have been the mansion.
True, it might have been the mansion.
Oh God.
Yeah, so they bring him out, and Wells, to protect, because he's extremely overprotective. I mean, especially after getting his daughter back from being kidnapped.
Yeah, it's not like it's for no reason. A super powerful being that wants to get faster and take control has had your daughter for how many months?
Yeah, so he gives her the metahuman detection watch. And a lot of people got confused, at least when I saw on Reddit and Twitter, like when Wally shows up, her watch went off.
Yeah.
But the reason it went off is because Barry was standing right next to her.
Yeah.
But people thought, oh, Wally's there. She's going out to reach his hand to introduce herself. Oh, Wally's the metahuman. He's not yet. He doesn't have powers yet. So that's just one thing that I wanted to clear up.
I'm going to be surprised if this Wally actually has powers, because... All right, well, actually, no, never mind, because it's going to get too far into it. Like, I'll save it for later.
All right, that's fine. So they're still trying to figure out Velocity 9 and how to, get it better to work with them, work for them so it doesn't have any adverse effects on Barry, because he's really trying to take it. It turns out that Caitlin gave some samples to this scientist at Mercury Labs, and she ended up messing with it and became Trajectory. And she gets a little evil personality as a result of it. She's got like a Two-Face going on.
Yeah, she's like, they don't say it, but it's kind of hinted the way she acts. It's split personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I initially, I'll get to it a little bit later, but I had, at the end of this episode, I was like, oh, maybe this is how Zoom happened. So she starts committing crime, stealing people's wallets and shit, and everybody's blaming it on the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly not the Flash. But even Iris's editor at the newspaper's like, you gotta run this article trash talking the Flash.
Yeah, like, dude, they gave him like a key to the city. Now he's just gonna start stealing.
Yeah, after he rebuilt it too. Like, he rebuilt a lot of it himself.
I didn't mind it though because it was such like a. It would kind of remind me of like J. Jonah Jameson a little bit. Like, dude, Spider-Man's clearly a good guy, and it's like he's a villain.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad impersonation.
Thanks.
And speaking of Iris's editor, they went on a date that wasn't a date. She was like trying to kill time so she didn't have to write that article. But he's like, "Damn, this girl's into me." It worked out a little weird.
I thought it was the other way around.
She was trying to get him out to stall.
I'm sorry.
He thought it was a date.
He thought it was a date, yeah. So it's like my life.
Yeah, pretty much. But then she's like, oh. Maybe I would like to date him. I don't know. It's like one of the other 3 black people on the show. Maybe they got to connect like that. I don't know. That's not a nice thing to say.
No, it's all right. It's not your fault. It's the fact that the CW just keeps the black people with the black people and the white people with the white people.
So then Trajectory breaks into Star Labs. Go figure. Everybody does. And holds Velocity 9. Once is holding Wells' daughter hostage for more Velocity 9 because she ran out and she needs it. So then Wells is like, fine, I'll make it up. Gives her something that has like something else laced in it or whatever, so it's not like pure. She caught onto it, stabs it into Jesse's neck, and you see Jesse react to it. I think she had like a seizure or something.
Yeah.
Which we don't get to see the effects of this because during this episode she hears about her dad trying to kill somebody to get her back, or how he wanted to kill Zoom to get her back or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, whoa, my dad's a psycho. Let me leave. So we never get to see the effect of Velocity 9 on her. And she's not in the next few episodes, so we won't, at least till who knows when. Probably the finale. We'll just hold everything for that. So then Caitlin makes new good Velocity 9. She ejects herself. She gets crazy powerful. Finally, Barry's able to stop her. And she has another jar of Velocity 9, stabs herself, starts. She gets blue lightning from this, which is reminiscent of Zoom, which is why I thought that, well, if Jay or Zoom took Velocity 9, maybe they split off. If she's experiencing like a second personality, maybe he did when he first took Velocity. Oh, he had Velocity 6 at the time, and it somehow caused them to split into 2, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then she ends up running so fast that she just evaporates in the air.
Yeah.
So she could have turned into pure Speed Force or ran into the Speed Force.
She she deteriorated.
Yeah,
which was cool because like it's kind of, that's how Barry Allen gets lost into the Speed Force in the comics.
Yeah.
His skin just kind of starts to like wither away.
Yeah,
and he starts to look old.
Yeah, so she's still in the Speed Force, except she loses her clothes. So I guess she's running through there naked, unless she had something underneath.
Dude, I want to go in that Speed Force.
So there's a chance she come back next season running naked out of the Speed Force.
That'd be awesome. Dude, CW becomes like a premium cable channel.
Yeah, they just like, it's just they loan it to HBO for an episode.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, it's just the Flash, and like all it is the Flash like meets Game of Thrones, and it's just family portrayal, boobs, and death. Like,
yeah, hopefully without the incest though. We don't need that.
Ew. I don't watch Game of Thrones. I didn't know that.
There's incest on it, a lot actually. Yeah. So then Barry's like, oh, she had blue lightning from this. That makes sense. Wait. And it made her sick. Wait, Jay got sick from this. Zoom has blue lightning. Could Jay be Zoom? So then Barry brings that up. Cisco touches the helmet, Jay's helmet, and has a vibe. Oh, shit, Jay is Zoom. Which, a lot of people saw it coming. A lot of people had a different idea.
Yeah. It's not as exciting that you don't know.
I would rather have found out like this instead of like, this is why like a lot of time I'll try not to think up theories.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be proven right. I want to be surprised by.
Yeah, I feel the same exact way. But there were so many theories when this came out.
Yeah,
like when the season 2 started, that it was so hard to avoid.
Yeah, as soon as they announced who the character was and they showed him, they're like, "Oh shit, theory on this." It happens all the time with everything.
Yeah, it also like it leads to disappointment too if you keep predicting, because it's never going to be as good as you thought it was, even though it could be great because it's not your own.
Yeah, exactly. You always think that it's probably better. Yeah. What you think of is better than that.
Exactly.
It's not always the case, but this was good, and it makes Jay look less of a bitch than he was this whole season. You were very dissatisfied with him. But understandably, so was I.
Yeah, it makes sense now why he was like that, but especially later on. But I still hate it. But it's fine.
Well, I have another idea that I just mentioned, how I try not to come up with theories, but I'll get into it a little later. So then the next episode is Flashback, and Barry comes up with, he starts writing out the Speed Force formula Jesse Quick and Johnny Quick used to give them their speed, but he can't finish it. So he comes up with this idea that he's going to go back in time a year to talk to Eobard Thawne, Welzabard, if you will.
Yeah, I like Welzabard.
To help him figure it out, because that's how he got his Speed Force. He wasn't struck by lightning or didn't have the same reaction that Barry did. He created the Speed Force for himself almost. So he's going to go back and try and learn from him. Before he does, there's always rules to time travel that you can't break. And it's just something that you can't do because the time tries to fix itself. Wells is highly against them going back, but Cisco and Caitlin come up with all these rules. They're like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. And the main rule was you can't let Welzabard figure out that you're from the future. What's one of the first things that happens when he gets there after he runs into his old self and fights his old self?
Yeah. That was kind of funny. I'll admit that.
Yeah.
But the way like Dr. Wells finds out Barry is not the actual Barry of that time is so obvious.
Yeah.
And a monkey could figure it out. Like, hey.
Yeah, especially, you're trying to pull something like that off from a guy who makes a habit of coming from the future and traveling back in time.
It's like, hey, remember this thing we never talked about? Well, here's the Speed Force solution. What do they call it?
Something like that.
I don't know. Something asinine. And cool. Dude, it's like, imagine if I went to a KKK meeting and I was all in their costumes because they're silly, just like the KKK, which is a silly group. And they talked about something that was so secret that only a certain amount of people knew. And I went there and I shared, but I was from the future and I went there and shared it. Wouldn't they know I wasn't a part of that group? That was the most obvious thing, right?
I mean, that's a really weird way to take that analogy, but yeah.
Makes sense, right? Does that make sense, Matt? Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Matt's here, by the way.
I mean, you could have used other scenarios, but...
Yeah, but I just don't like the KKK.
Yeah, nobody does. Well, that's not true. But anyway, so yeah, he gives himself away, like, really quick.
Yeah.
Like, almost immediately. And so Wells knocks him out, locks him in the time vault, and is going to kill him. Barry's like, because he figured him out, he's like, oh, well, now what happens to me in the future? If you're back here, that means I failed. I didn't kill you. And Barry actually got away with this lie. He's like, no, like, we helped each other out. I helped you get to the future. You go back to your time.
Which makes sense, in my opinion, because then it's like, if I were Harrison Wells, I would be like, oh, then that's how he must have gotten the solution because of us working together.
See, you're doing what Team Flash has done. You're calling Thawne Wells.
Oh, my gosh.
You
All
idiot.
Right. Whatever. And we just talked about how that's kind of annoying before this podcast. But
yeah.
Whatever.
And it would make sense. He goes, yeah, I mean, obviously he's got to come back for this reason. I'm no longer there. But if you help me get back, then I guess I'll help him with this, blah, blah, blah. He's going to be pretty surprised at the end of that time stream when he ends up dead.
Yeah.
But some other things happen in this episode. One thing is this black, it looks like a Dementor from Harry Potter. They actually make a joke of that. with Hartley Rathaway, who's back in this episode because he travels back. I forget what episode that was, but Barry travels back to a point with that the Pied Piper was in.
Yeah.
I forget the episode number. So they work with him a little bit after following similar events, but then this Dementor thing comes after Barry. Fucks up his lab, fucks up the police station, and is coming for him. It's called a time wraith. Welzabard explains, and that you mess with the future, you cause something to change the timeline, so now it has to come and punish you and fix it. Mm-hmm. And Wells is really pissed because he goes, this is why real time travelers, this is why one hasn't come after me, because I do things the way they're supposed to be done, like this. So he's giving him advice while also yelling at him. Like, if you're gonna go back in time, you got to keep it exactly the way that it is. But Barry's stupid and broke like all 10 rules that Cisco and Caitlin gave him.
Yeah, I love Barry Allen as a character, but he's nowhere as smart as he is. He can understand concepts that they tell him, but he's not as smart as Team Flash.
Yeah, he's like book smart.
Yeah,
but still the other team members are smarter than him.
Much smarter.
Yeah.
Caitlin and Cisco and Harrison Wells are the scientists.
Yeah. Yeah, Barry's CSI. I mean, he's still really smart, but whatever. So they're working together, and then the Time Wraith comes after them again. They end up defeating the Time Wraith in a certain way, but before they do that, Wells... I just did it. Welzabard, gives him the speed formula and like all this other information that he used to create his Speed Force and whatever. Mm-hmm. So then they get into this fight with this Time Wraith. The Time Wraith starts like stealing his energy like a Dementor would do, and almost his face starts coming together to look like a decaying Flash.
Yeah.
Which like it's kind of a nod to the Black Flash, the Black Racer, which is like the Speedster's version of Death that comes after him, like the Green Ripper form. Mm-hmm. So then Barry's like figures it out. The Time Wraith goes away for a little bit. He goes, all right, you have a year to figure this thing out to stop it. And then so Barry ends up traveling through time. A year later, he ends up right back in that position in Star Labs. Cisco has this thing to try and mess with the vibrational frequency of the Wraith. Didn't work. Out of nowhere comes Hartley, Pied Piper, with his classic gauntlets, except enhanced a little bit, evaporates the Time Wraith. Turns out, in that year, Hartley became good and worked with them that entire time.
So it was actually beneficial that Barry went back.
Yeah, it was beneficial because Hartley is another genius.
Yeah.
And obviously it saved his life. So that worked out well.
Yeah, it did. That was like one of the few times. Like, I thought that was a nice twist because there's already so much going on in this season, and it's like that's one thing I was scared about with this episode as far as like, dude, he's going back in time and coming back. Like, is there gonna be another issue that they have to deal with?
Yeah.
Because, dude, like these people have more issues than like the Secretary of Defense. Like, it's insane, like how much they have to deal with.
Yeah, there's a lot that comes with being a superpowered individual, aside from personal issues that also leads to it.
And like, it was finally like something. It was nice to see something like relieved. Like I was like, oh, a bad guy is a good guy. That's good.
And it's something that could be useful in the future, not just that.
And his powers are cool.
Well, they're not even powers; it's tech.
But his
tech is cool and like works very well.
Yeah.
Which leads us into last night's episode, or this is going up Sunday, so this past Tuesday's episode.
Yeah, I keep thinking there's more episodes because of the stupid breaks.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this was back after like 3 weeks or something like that. But it's called Versus Zoom. And overall, I thought this was a really good episode. There are some things that
I really liked
bothered me a little bit.
Up to the end.
Yeah.
Like, again, there was some, but like, no episode's perfect. And it's a television show with not the highest budget, but there's a lot of love behind it. So like whenever I criticize or I say I hate something, like I'm not lying, but like it doesn't deteriorate like my love for the show. But like if I'm gonna acknowledge something I don't like or it doesn't add up.
Yeah, exactly. And they couldn't wrap the ending. While I thought it was dumb, like there's something that should have changed, I get why they did it because they still have 5 more episodes. So they couldn't finish it here.
It's frustrating because it's retreading old ground.
Yeah.
And literally it is. And it didn't make sense. But let's start in the beginning and go in.
All right. Do you want to handle it?
No, you go. You start off because I'm good. Then I'd be talking the whole time. Honestly, like I know how I'm gonna talk. I know it's how this is gonna end.
Okay.
And it's just you start off.
All right. So this episode was not kind of. There was a lot of backstory into Zoom.
Yeah.
We find out in this episode. It starts off with this young kid. Hears his dad yelling. Goes downstairs, sees his dad beating the shit out of his mom, yelling at him. One interesting thing about his dad, though,
is that he didn't hit her hard enough.
No,
just kidding. I'm really just kidding.
Turns out he just came back from a war, and if you look at his suit, it was almost exactly like what the Jay Garrick we thought was Jay Garrick wears. So that's where he modeled that suit after. Although he added wings to the helmet. Dad puts the helmet on the kid. Turns out his name is Hunter Zolomon, which we met. We saw a Hunter Zolomon earlier this season when the fake Jay Garrick, Hunter Zolomon, whatever, this Zoom showed us his Earth One doppelganger. Well, a lot of people thought we were going to come into play too, and it kind of does in this episode. And he goes, "All right, you need to watch this." So kids watch. He's probably like 5, 6 maybe. Not that old.
No.
Still very young, very impressionable. Makes Hunter watch as his dad shoots his mom right in the face.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if it's in the face. They cut away.
All right. Well, it's
stupid network television.
He's aiming at her face. Could have been her face. Whatever. Makes him watch the dad makes him watch him shoot
Imagine
his mom.
if it was her feet. And then not only did he watch his mom get shot, but he was like, all right, now walk.
Yeah.
It's just something really messed up.
I mean, it's messed up enough watching your mother get murdered, especially by your dad.
I've been getting really dark this podcast. I brought up the Ku Klux Klan. I brought up
something's wrong with you.
Yeah, I don't know. We're recording on 420, man.
Sick.
Yeah. I brought up women beating. This is we might lose a subscriber or two.
Yeah. But that instance is
it's all in good fun. I feel none of those things.
Some of them, probably.
Well, you do.
No, you do. Anyway, this is interesting because both Barry and Hunter's mom were murdered.
Yes.
In front of them.
So there's similarities between the characters.
Except Barry's dad didn't do it, but Hunter's dad did. But it's still just as traumatic and influences what they do later on.
When I said before we're retreading old ground, I didn't mean that towards this aspect, which I'm sure you probably already knew, but for anybody who has watched the episode, that if that's what they're thinking, I thought this was very clever, and I thought this was the best part of the episode. Mm-hmm. It was how they showed the similarities between Barry and Hunter, but how it was different outcomes for different reasonings, but even though the scenario was familiar.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, like I said, I know I just said this, but it was very clever.
Yeah, it was very clever, and I really liked it. I think it was a really good idea on their part.
Absolutely.
And one other thing about finding out that the Jay is actually Hunter Zolomon is Hunter Zolomon in the comics is Zoom, except he's Wally West's enemy, but still, and different suit and whatever. But it brings to light another actual comic book character with his identity, just done a different way. Uh-huh. So then Barry's trying to again get faster. And he takes the tachyon device and uses it to enhance his speed and run faster. So he's running from Keystone City back to Central City, back to Star Labs, and they try to test out how fast he can go. As he's running, they're like, oh, wow, he's 4 times faster than he was. He's going even faster than Zoom. Mm-hmm. Boom, he pops through a portal, then comes out the other end, gets back into Star Labs. And Cisco and Caitlin are like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Blah, blah, you were so fast. And he goes, how long was I gone? And that was a reference into him going to Supergirl's Earth.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to call Earth 3. It was never named, but I'm assuming it's Earth 3.
Yeah. It
is
Earth
now.
420.
All right, let's not get funny. There's only 52.
Okay. No, there's 52 portals.
There's 52 portals. You're right. Excuse me.
Bastard.
Excuse me. Which, and that's the only mention of him going to another Earth. They didn't notice that somehow, and he only goes, "How long was I gone?" Doesn't say why, and it doesn't make sense to me how it was like probably like nanoseconds if he still was like incredibly fast to get there. He was on Earth 3 with Supergirl for at least 2 or 3 days.
Yeah,
And somehow none of that time passed on this Earth.
Enough to form a trusting bond between someone you don't know, help them out with a fight, give them a life lesson, spend more time with them, get to know the characters around.
Mm-hmm.
How long was I gone? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what?
That's the only acknowledgement. He doesn't mention that at all.
Yeah.
And I was kind of annoyed by it. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I know that's not the point of the episode, but you could at least talk about it.
Acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, oh, I was on another Earth.
yeah, like, whoa, you guys, like, even if he said you're not going to believe this, and then they're like, well, we're going to have to wait on that, I'd be like, okay, at least he's acknowledging something happened, and he probably will inform them in the future, but nothing.
Nothing. No.
Nothing.
I just met an alien. You know, that's a pretty big deal. No.
And did they even notice that he was in another, he went through a portal?
They didn't notice at all, which I don't understand how they
I don't get that either. Granted, like, the passage of time was incredibly fast. Like, it was a split second of when he was there and he wasn't. But, like, dude, your Star Labs computers can detect his heart rate while he's moving at the speed of light.
They have all his vitals.
They have all of his vitals.
They would notice a drop in his vitals. So they obviously can't track it while he's on another Earth.
Like, you're telling me those computers, like, didn't detect that and then go back and they're like, Barry, what happened? Like, I don't know. It was rushed, and I understand why it was rushed, so I'm not going to knock it, but it was still annoying.
Yeah, it was annoying. I agree. And, like, the passage of time, again, doesn't make sense. Because when they went to Earth 2, all the time that passed on Earth 2 also passed on Earth 1.
We're also not taking into effect, too, of, like, what they might be able to legally say on the show.
True.
But at the same time, I feel like it's not wrong.
If they had a crossover, they got to be able to say something.
But it was a crossover on CBS, not on CW. So on the CW, like, they might have had issues of saying, like, well, what can we say? And, like, we don't know behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, like, that's another reason why I'm not knocking it, is like, all right, what was being able to said, or what was allowed to be said? I said terrible words there, but it's fine. You guys know what I meant. So, that's why I'm gonna, like, I don't want to say not that it needs my approval or anything, but I'll give it a pass because.
But even if that is the case, it's dumb because Supergirl currently hasn't been renewed yet, but it's expected to be. The CBS president is already like, yeah, we're planning this worked out well. We'll probably do another one next season. If they're already planning on another one, you would think you'd be able to say some things.
But dude, the whole thing between like Sony and Marvel, where that is like the intricacies of that. Like, dude, we couldn't see Spider-Man until like this third trailer or whatever it was, and like, so like, and like it's all rumor based, but like rumor has it like it was like a process.
Oh yeah, it was a huge.
Like, there's
ordeal.
no way Sony is like being like so cool, calm, and collective, like with like
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
the thing is that's two different companies. CBS and CW are both owned by the same company.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give you an example of something. Just because something's owned by the same company doesn't mean that it's not like 100% legally liable or legally viable to I can't talk today to be talked about in the other section. Like, let's take Sony for example. Like, Sony Computer Entertainment in America and like Sony Pictures are completely two different companies, and one actually has to pay the other for advertising. That sounds asinine, but that's the truth.
Well, yeah, all Disney's companies do that too.
Yeah.
And like, I get it, like they don't, obviously they're just separate divisions of a major thing.
But also too, like some divisions have different investors. So even though they're both under the same company, it's more of like under the same network instead of the same company, and the brand is Sony or the brand is Warner Brothers. So like someone like we might be invested or be involved in CW, but even though it's owned by Warner Brothers, we have nothing to really do with CBS, almost as if we're acting like a different company. But like, it's just we have a stronger background because of the parent company. Yeah. So like, I don't know. Does it sound like it sounds like what I'm making sense, right? Yeah. So like, even though they're under like, people have said that like it's all owned by Warner Brothers, but it's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean everything works out, and that doesn't mean one can't really sue the other. It happens.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Yeah. Sony to Marvel is different.
Sony and Marvel's way different. It should be easier between these two companies. But also, too, we complain about...
We're getting off track.
Yeah, we're
getting way off track.
All right, damn it. All right.
I know you want to go on this rant, but we're getting off track. And it's unnecessary. So then Barry's like, against everybody's, better judgment, he's like, oh, I want to reopen a breach to get to Earth 2 so we can get Zoom and stop him. Because Barry cares about Earth 2 because Earth 2 lives matter.
Exactly.
Which I get. It's noble of him. He's a hero. He obviously wants to protect people, even if they're not of his Earth.
Right, and it's the hero inside of him. And, dude, honestly, I completely sympathize with that. That makes sense. It's like, there's people being terrorized over there. We know of these other planets. We need to help them.
Yeah.
And, not to mention, too, they didn't bring it up, but this is something I would think about. It's like, dude, we have Harrison Wells and his daughter, Jessie, who are here in this Earth. They probably want to go back home.
Well, Jessie had made it very clear when they brought her back over, how she wants to be on Earth too, even though her life is in danger.
Exactly, because that's where the people she loves and knows and friends are there. So, I mean, I would want to go back to Earth 2 too and defeat Zoom. So, I get why Harrison Wells doesn't want to go back, but when Joe is like, I don't want you going back there. It's like, well, dude, yeah, he should go back there. He has every reason to go there.
Yeah, but Joe just wants to protect him because he saw what happened the last time.
That's good. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and that he's basically Barry's dad. He's Barry's second dad. He raised them for 13,
Joe is the
15
best
years.
dad on the planet.
Joe is the man.
Yeah, that guy is awesome.
In this episode, Wally's comes over to do laundry and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm not living on campus anymore because it's way too expensive." He goes, "Oh, I'll give you all this. I'll pay for it if you want."
Yeah.
To try and reconnect with his son. At least something to pay him back. For never being there for him financially. Granted, he didn't know he existed. And then with some advice from Barry, Joe ends up offering Wally's here, you can live here as long as you want. I'm just
Joe offers it to Wally.
Yeah, that's what I said. Joe offers it to Wally. He's like, Barry doesn't live here anymore. Here, you could live here, have this own room, do what you want with it. I'm just not going to do your laundry. That's the condition. And no beer in the fridge,
which is dumb.
Yeah,
because
he'll just go downstairs
with a lot of beer.
He'll just go downstairs and grab a big beer from that fridge.
Yeah,
but Joe, this kid who he didn't know about for 20-something years, and he offers to let him in, live with him. It's a good dad. I mean, obviously he's treated Barry and Iris well, but to do that for someone you just met, really,
yeah,
obviously technically is your son because blood related, but to offer that to him, even to offer him all that money to pay room and board, it's a big deal. But
because he's the man, he's a good
Joe
guy.
is the man,
dude.
Time and time again, he's the man.
I want good guy Joe memes.
That's
let's
good.
start him.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that. Yeah, so against everybody's better judgment, Barry ends up getting Cisco to open up I said Urban. We both can't talk.
Yeah.
A breach back to Earth 2. Somehow, I guess Zoom has breach senses, and he immediately
never really explained.
Yeah, he immediately knows one opened up and hops back into our Earth and chases Barry around. Barry has the tachyon device on a little modified now, so it's not as big, but it's still increasing his speed. Lures him back to Star Labs, and they set up this little trap for him. And it's they go into this big open area, and they made cardboard cutout prints of his parents.
That was kind of dark.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Yeah,
and so they pop out, and he sees his dad first, and he's like, "Oh shit!" and he stops. Barry leaves a smackdown on him, and then Zoom starts running again. Boom, pops into his mom, who he saw get murdered. Barry shoots him with the boot machine that pauses powers or whatever, and they start talking. Then we see that Hunter Zolomon struggled throughout the rest of his life, living in this going through the system of foster care and stuff, and just never being treated well. And then the trauma of seeing your mom murdered in front of your eyes will mess anybody up. I mean, if you look at Dexter, that's what happened to him, and he became a serial killer. Hunter Zolomon became the serial killer. and he was treated with electroshock therapy, which I guess on Earth 2 was not outlawed. I guess they're a little backwards on some things.
I know, like,
because on Earth, that in real life and probably on Earth 1, that's been outlawed for at least like 40, 50 years or something like that.
Well, yeah, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was written in 1962, and there's a scene where where R.P. McMurphy, the main character who's played by Jack Nicholson in the movie, is treated with electroshock therapy, and I think around that time it was outlawed, so it's definitely been around for like 45 years.
Yeah, I guess not on Earth 2, or they're like, wow, this guy's a massive piece of shit. He killed 23 people.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make an exception for him. So as he's getting electrocuted, particle accelerator on Earth 2 explodes, and he gets his powers through that.
Yeah.
And then from there he becomes obsessed with speed, wants to get faster, creates Velocity 6, gets sick, thinks he needs more speed to cure himself. That's why he wants Barry's speed. So then he explains all that to Barry. Barry's like, we could have helped you, we could have cured you, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, how did you figure out it was me? How did you figure out I was Zoom? He goes, well, you showed and told Caitlin who your Earth 1 doppelganger is. So that's how we figured you out. Set himself up a little bit. That came to bite him in the ass. Not that it really did a whole lot of good, but it worked for the time being. Then instead of, knocking him out, putting him in the pipeline or something, Barry's still talking to him in Zoom, gets his power, reinvigorates himself, breaks out of the trap,
all right, and runs off. And here's the thing, too. It's like Barry is faster than Zoom at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that far away. And, dude, that scene where he's shaking his hand, he's, like, staring at Barry, and Barry, like, looks at him back, that was easily, like, 3 seconds.
Oh, yeah, Barry could have
just ran there.
Yeah.
Like,
not to mention, he did what villains normally do.
They talk too much.
They have the hero, dead to rights, and they talk too much, and then the hero's like, boom, got it. Gave him time. Barry should have brought him right into the pipeline in the particle accelerator.
Yeah. They literally make fun of that in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, they parried that.
Yeah.
And,
and it was stupid.
Stupid.
And, Barry's common sense, I guess, wasn't there. I don't know. So Zoom runs off.
Lack of judgment.
Yeah, lack of judgment. We find out, after they were talking about family, we find out that, speaking of family, Barry's like listening to Hunter Zolomon talk about what happened to him, and he goes, we could have been the same person. Barry's like, no, my mom was murdered before my eyes too, but I didn't become a piece of shit. But Barry also had Joe, who we have said is the man.
He's the man. Like, dude.
That's why Barry didn't become a piece of shit serial killer, pretty much.
Like, I'm surprised, like, Iris isn't, like, a civil rights leader or something like that. Like, dude, that guy's awesome. Like, having a dad like that, your kids can do anything.
Yeah. Well, maybe on, Earth 1, in the Flash's world, I guess civil rights is not an issue for them.
Maybe
they're,
Who knows? There's so many Earths. Who knows Earth 1 is the Earth that we are?
True. We could be on Earth 1, or we could be on Earth 1000.
Yeah.
And there's another Earth where all these people have powers.
Yeah. You know what Earth most people are on today?
420.
Come on, that joke's funny. That was good.
It was funny the first time, but now that's fair.
That one was clever. All right.
That's like a 6 out of 10.
All right. I'll take it. It could be a 4 out of 20.
Oh, my God. All right. Then we find out Zoom kidnapped Wally, brought him back to Earth 2, locked him up. And you asked me this before, and then Anthony D'Elia and I were talking about it, because he asked the same question. He goes,
a frequent guest.
Yeah. How did he get back to Earth 2? And it's because they never addressed it, but they never closed the breach that they opened up in the hospital between the two Earths, because Barry had Cisco run away before they could. And I guess it was just an oversight that they didn't do that. So Barry's like,
because Team Flash never does that.
Yeah, never once. And Zoom leaves a message, your speed for Wally's life. And everyone, Joe is like completely distraught. I mean, everybody's upset, Barry especially, but Joe is like heartbroken. And the rest of the team is like trying to figure out a way that they can get Wally back without giving Barry speed. Barry's like, no, I'm just going to do it. I'm just gonna give him my speed. So then they use Cisco's vibe powers to contact Zoom, and it's like, yeah, we'll do it. Zoom comes back, brings Wally with him. I'm like, all right, we got the deal. Then they're all sitting around,
chilling,
talking about it. And when Zoom revealed himself to be Hunter Zolomon again, Caitlin's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, they already told you that's what it is.
Yeah, and they're straight chilling.
Yeah, and they're just hanging out.
Yeah, like, straight up hanging out. Like, oh yeah, I watched my parents die before my eyes, and I want his speed. Why? Like, dude, that guy just killed so many people. The anxiety in that room should have been through the roof.
Yeah.
Through the roof. And like they're just chilling.
Yeah. No big deal.
Yeah.
With a, serial killer.
Dude, they should all wear shirts that said NBD because it was just no big deal. Zoom is right there. It's cool. Like it just got so silly.
It was dumb.
Yeah.
And then so they're asking him all these questions like how he pulled off killing Jay. We find out he created Jay because he wanted to. He was pretending to be a hero because he wanted to give people hope and then rip it away. His exact words, because he's psychotic.
Which that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So then they're like, well, how did you kill Jay? Were you in two places at once, killing yourself through Earth 2 to Earth 1? He goes, I'm not that fast. They're like, where's the speed mirage? And they're like, that's not that. I'm not that fast. And a lot of people on Reddit were like, oh, so that means Reverse Flash is quicker than him if he could do that. No, he couldn't. He's not fast enough to do a speed mirage through 2 Earths.
Yeah,
that's what he meant. It's not like he's in the same spot in the same room, or like when Harrison Wells did it, he was Harrison. I did it again.
Yeah,
when Welzabard was
Eobard
Thawne was doing it within 5 feet of where each mirage was.
It made sense in that aspect, but yeah, going from one dimension to the other dimension, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do it without time travel, pretty much.
No. Speaking of which, he explained how he pulled it off.
Yep.
He went back in time, found a version of himself, which turned out to be a time remnant, which is how Reverse Flash came back earlier this season. It's another good use, another good callback. It saves things. I was thinking maybe there actually is twins on both Earth. There's Jay Garrick and Hunter Zolomon. One got separated and then adopted, like Malcolm Thawne and Barry in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was thinking. But this is a good use, throw in time travel again. And it makes sense because we already saw it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, even then it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because, time travel never really makes a whole lot of sense. There's always, like, questions around it. But it's a good use. And then he's like, oh, it took him some convincing. But he's all too happy to die when I told him what it was. Psycho.
Yeah. Again, that I didn't have a problem with because if that Jay was just as psychotic, then so be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. So then it explains why Jay was never around all the time because he was on Earth 2 doing shit as Zoom and then coming back here to show up pretending to be a hero. So he's going back and forth. So that's why he needed that remnant.
So it makes sense when, Star Labs is attacking Jay's like, sorry, I didn't wake up from my nap.
Yeah. Yeah. Zoom was there.
Then now looking back, it's like, dude, Team Flash, your guys are... you have a forensic scientists, and you didn't granted, I didn't piece it together either, but that's because I thought that Jay Garrick was like the worst character at that time. It's a show based on a certain reality of whatever, and you didn't put like 2 and 2 together. Like you never thought, hey, this guy that is a superhero didn't wake up during this earthquake.
Yeah. Or anything, whatever. So then while he's talking, they still have an opportunity. Both Wells and Joe have these like fucking huge rifles trained on him, and he's distracted. Fucking shoot him in the face.
Yeah. Okay, and here's another thing too, is when they're straight chilling, they're chilling hard AF, dude. Chilling hard AF, like straight up, dude. I'm surprised someone didn't crack open a beer, like here you go, dude. Take a load off.
Yeah.
They were seriously chilling. Like, it was so annoying.
While he's sitting there talking, Barry could have just ran with him out.
Barry is faster than Zoom. As soon as Wally ran away, they could have just fought. And
they could have fought. Barry could have ran up, fucking phased his hand right through his heart and killed him.
Exactly. Barry at that point was stronger than Zoom. There was no reason. Mm-hmm. It didn't make sense at all. There was no, like, I get it that there's 5 more episodes, but
it was still stupid.
It was the dumbest thing. Like, it might have been the dumbest thing I've ever seen on the show.
Yeah,
actually,
which is saying something.
It was so bad, dude. Okay, he was outrunning Zoom. He beat Zoom. He was punching Zoom.
Yeah,
and then he's like, "Oh, hold on, I'm gonna like." I get what they were going for. They were going for like a sacrificial like mentality. Is like, oh, he's such a hero. He'll give up his powers to save the ones he loves. Like, but that only works when it makes sense. You know, you can do someone. That's like if I bought a pork leg and cheese for someone who had like a 100% filled artery. I was doing something nice, but it's really harming them in the long run. Like, and by the way, if you don't live in Jersey, Pennsylvania, or New York, pork roll is the most delicious thing ever. But yeah, it just was like, okay, but there's so many different ways and alleys to go through in order to defeat this monster that you've been trying to kill. Let me give him my speed.
Yeah, and here I thought that they were going to do like a fake out. Like when they're collecting speed, they were like,
I was waiting for it.
Going to fake it out and really give him something else. No, they really drained Barry's speed and gave it to him. Which, when Zoom injected himself with it, he had the funniest fucking face on.
Dude, I started dying.
He had like the craziest orgasm. Like his vinegar strokes were like ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, he's like, ah. I was like, what?
Yeah. It was funny though. But yeah, Barry gave up.
I would love to see the behind the scenes footage of like the not special effects added.
Yeah,
and just see like what his face.
I
looked
wonder
like.
how many times they had to like shoot that scene. With like how many times they were laughing, they ruined the scene. Because that was hysterical. That face.
That was so funny. His face was ridiculous, even with special effects. I want to see that footage of him just acting without the special effects. Like it was great. It was so silly.
Yeah. So all Barry's speed is gone. All 100% of it.
Yeah, which hasn't happened before.
Yeah. Except this time it's actually like stolen and not like a mental blockage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you don't feel the speed, Barry. Yeah. It's like, hey, no, that thing that gave you powers and that made you cool, like, gone.
Yeah, it's like if Superman and Supergirl were holding kryptonite. All their powers are gone.
That might have been I'm so glad that didn't end the season because, listen, I know Barry's going to get his Speed Force back. That's not a spoiler. Like,
obviously.
It's so obvious. It's just the way they did it. Like it could have been so much more clever. You could have had Zoom trick him into think he was losing his speed. Like, imagine this twist. Imagine like Harrison Wells was still secretly working for Zoom to protect Jesse Quick, and we never knew about it. And instead he said, "Hey Barry, I found a way for you to even get faster than normal. Run on this treadmill." And said, no, he steals his Speed Force without Barry knowing, and then gives it to Zoom. That would have been so much more clever. And I just thought of that sitting right here.
Yeah, but they already did that. Just not on the treadmill.
Still, again, I'm not saying there isn't flaws.
And then it wouldn't have been the sacrifice. You would have lost the sacrifice.
But still, it would have made more sense. Like. And granted, I'm not saying there isn't flaws of what I'm saying. I'm sure there is, but dude, that would have been better than someone who clearly could have beaten that villain at that time, who was more powerful, faster, had the tactical advantage, and just doesn't do it. And it's not like he's just a bad guy that robs banks. Like he's not like a Captain Cold.
He's a convicted serial killer.
Yes. How is great. Like they said, he killed 23 people before he even got his powers. How many people has he killed since he's had his powers?
Exactly.
He's like the Carnage of the Speed Force.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
I like that.
Hey, I'm gonna give this guy my speed.
Yeah, like I expected them to fake it out, but they actually gave him all his speed. All 100% of it.
Look, and I get it. They wanted to avoid like an expectation, but like, no.
And then another dumb thing that happened after he injects the speed, he goes in, he grabs Barry by the throat. He's about to kill Barry, and Barry's already super weak from losing all his speed because his body has to readjust to having literally no speed force in him. That's if like I took a shit ton of chemotherapy drugs all at once. Your body just goes to shit.
Yeah.
So then he's choking him out, and then Caitlin, this was dumb. She goes, if you ever felt anything for me, if anything was real between us, then you would stop hurting him. I'm like, he said he played you guys.
Yeah.
He's a psychopath. None of that would be real.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that he didn't kill Barry.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any
but even that,
sense.
Caitlin would even bother saying that.
And of course, they're going to try to get Barry his powers back. Yeah. Why wouldn't you kill him? Yeah. That's the thing you should have thought about before you gave him the Speed Force. And Barry was like surprised that like he was holding his neck up against the wall.
Yeah, that
dude,
a serial killer would honor his promise.
Yeah, like dude,
who the hell does that?
Like, is Bart Simpson ever surprised when Sideshow Bob like tries to kill him? No, he expects it. It's Sideshow Bob, and that's a cartoon, and that makes more sense.
Yeah, you never trust a psychopath.
Yeah.
I actually thought that like once Zoom handed over Wally that he was just going to end up killing Wally anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, like Caitlin would even try to appeal to like any emotion he has. Guy has no emotions.
Psychopaths, someone who's psychotic, doesn't realize the negative outcomes of their actions. Like that's like an actual trait of someone being like psychologically ill. So like they don't know like they either don't care or don't know of like bringing harm to others for their own advantage.
Yeah, but he was aware of it.
He was aware of it.
He knew what he was doing. He enjoyed it.
Yes.
And so it was stupid of her to even do that. Sometimes she's really dumb too.
Dude, listen, and it's a good episode. I don't want to say great. It's a good episode just up until like the last 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes were bad, in my opinion.
They were just a lot of dumb things happened
but too many for me to be like, okay, I can look over it. Because, dude, as much as I love The Flash, season 1, no. But season 2, you have to admit there's been some dumb things, but it's easy to look over because the things that aren't dumb are absolutely still fantastic.
Yeah.
I think there's better. I think there's elements in season 2 that are better than season 1.
Yeah.
But like season 1 just holds up together logically, I want to say. For a show that's not logical when it comes to like
there was a lot of dumb things in season 1 too.
But you know what it is though? Like, okay, granted, there are a lot of dumb things in season 1, but dude, in season 2, like it's much more prevalent.
This happens in bigger moments.
Yeah, it's not like the big moments in season 1. There wasn't really anything like stupid in that. Mm-hmm. Like the stupid things in season 1 were like little things here and there, like, but like I can't even remember right now. But they were always like kind of forgivable. They were always forgivable because it's like, all right, they only have an hour, not even an hour. They have 45 minutes because of commercials, and they have to tell like almost an epic story every episode in 45 minutes with not a budget. Like for a type of show like that. So like in this season though, like is the budget that much bigger? Probably not. But they probably have more money going their way. The show has made so much money for CW, and I don't know. It's like what you said. You literally hit it right on the nose. The dumb moments are in the big moments, like this, and it's like not okay to look over.
I know. Another thing that I thought, and then he steals Caitlin, brings her to Earth too. I didn't really care that they took her, to be honest. She deserved it for trying to get involved with a psychopath.
Yeah, and also too, like when they asked Zoom, like, so who's the guy in the iron mask?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Yeah, I just was like, you know what? Like, I kind of would believe it because it's obviously someone we know, like in Team Flash. And if it's not, then I'll be surprised. But it's like, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. Well, then, okay, it's obviously someone very close to Barry, so it's a vicinity of like 9 people. You know?
Well, we know it's not anyone in Team Flash, and it could be Barry's dad.
It can't. Well, no, it can't be anybody in Team Flash. But let's think of cast of characters. It's obviously a male. I don't know. Actually, I don't even want to think too much into it.
I think it's either Barry's dad or Hunter's dad. Or here's another thing. The real Jay Garrick. Another person who's actually Jay Garrick that Hunter got the idea of this second personality from and stole his name and whatever.
Or you know what it is, dude? If they take off the mask, you know who it really should be?
John Cena.
Oh my God! How did you know I was going to say that?
I knew exactly where you were going. It was easy. That would be insane,
dude. If they actually did that, though, it was it wasn't like John Cena, but it was John Cena portraying a
somebody,
somebody. Dude, I would lose my shit.
That'd be absolutely amazing.
I would run around my house doing laps. It would be so great.
Yeah. And it could be Hunter's dad, Barry's dad, another character, another person who's actually Jay Garrick. But one reason I think it could be his dad, Hunter's dad, is because the code he was knocking to Barry and Jesse was a military type code. And we know his dad is a soldier. And Barry's dad probably was too, maybe. Who knows?
Ooh, yeah, they'll probably just shove it in. I was in the Army. Yeah, you were, Dad.
Yeah. So that's
yeah. I don't want people listening to this thing and oh, season 2 must be bad, dude. Season 2's been great.
It's absolutely great.
It's absolutely great. But this episode was I don't even want to say the episode because the episode wasn't bad. It was that last 10 minutes were just, dude, what? Who approved that?
Yeah.
I think there's something going behind the scenes that's
I think they just probably wrote themselves into a corner and they're like, oh, we got 5 more episodes to fill.
Yeah.
Obviously they couldn't do something to solve the problem now. Even last season they couldn't do that. Granted, they didn't have a chilling part, an episode of them chilling with
the villain
Flash.
Yeah.
But, whatever. It happened. But otherwise it was a really, really good episode.
Yeah.
And, I'm not upset by the reveal that it's actually Hunter Zolomon. I think that was smart.
Yeah.
The way they played it
should be
smart.
Hunter Zolomon.
Yeah. The way they played it was smart. I had a different theory of how it would have worked out between an actual Jay and Hunter, but whatever. I'm not complaining about it. It worked out fine enough. We still got 5 more episodes, including one directed by Kevin Smith.
Which I'm excited for.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, obviously I'm excited for the rest of the season. Just those last few minutes were pretty dumb.
Yeah, bad. Bad.
Yeah. But that's it. We're all caught up on the Flash on that. Unless you have something to add.
Nah, I have nothing else to add. Pretty much everybody knows how I felt about the last 10 minutes of the episode.
Oh, one thing. They mentioned, Joe brought up Wally's doppelganger on Earth 2. I wonder if that's actually if something is going to happen with that throughout the next 5 episodes. We see Earth 2 Wally. And if there is an Earth 2 Wally that they acknowledge, do you think he'll have powers on there?
Maybe.
Or
it could be an adaptation of the Parent Trap, and then they get they come back and Earth they're both messing with Joe of Earth 1.
Could be.
I think that's more likely to happen. No, that's not gonna happen. I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't mind if Earth 2 Wally had speedster powers.
Mm-hmm. But just stayed on Earth 2 after Zoom's defeated, to take care of it.
Yeah, but then that wouldn't make sense because then why wouldn't he fight Zoom on Earth 2 if he's just there?
Earth 2 Wally could be the man in the
chilling with him Team Flash, yeah.
Or Wally could be the man in the Iron Mask, even though I think it's a white guy.
Yeah, I mean, the hands didn't look black to me.
Well, even the back, they show the back of his neck, it's white.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. Who knows? There's a million different things they could do with it. One other thing I thought at the end of the episode, when I knew that it was coming, that they were actually going to take Barry Speed, or when I thought they were going to fake it, I was thinking if they put any of Barry Speed's in that, but I wonder if somehow it's going to get into Wally, and then that's how Wally's going to get his powers. But obviously Wally left before that. Mm-hmm. He left before the Chiller. I missed out on that.
Dude, Team Flash Chiller 2016.
Yeah.
Dude, it might as well have been a 420 episode because, dude, what else could bring a villain that wants to kill everybody and a group of heroes together?
Speedweed.
There we go.
Yeah. So do you think Wally's gonna get his powers by the end of the season?
No. I think it's going to be a season 3 thing because
Season 3 thing.
Yeah, this episode's been really like speedster focused, whereas like season 1, while yes, Eobard Thawne was the villain and he was a speedster, there was a lot of other there's a total villain of the week thing too, along with the big villain. Mm-hmm.
Well, they've done that this season too.
Not as much. Like
every week, Zoom for the most part sends somebody to kill him.
How like what, like 10 the 10 episodes maybe? We're on.
There was more.
You think so? Mm-hmm. How many? It was King Shark.
Well, I mean, I couldn't name you all of them right now, but
I think it's less than season 1.
I don't know. You could be right.
We'll figure that out. Actually, tell us in the comments below. See who's right. Are you Team Connor or Team Pat? But yeah, I feel like this one's been really like more focused on Zoom, like per episode, whereas like it was like with Eobard Thawne. While yeah, there was total focus on Eobard Thawne. It was more. There was more like the episodes were less, but were much more fleshed out for some reason. It was just better done, I want to say, for a single episode. But again, I have to finish season 2 before I really have a final judgment on that.
What about Jessie Quick? Think she'll get her powers?
Yeah, I think. What I would like to see is, because since the first 2 seasons were speedster villains, I would like Wally and Jessie Quick to have like speedster powers, because Jay Garrick sucked when we thought he was the Flash, and have like a non-speedster villain like in season 3.
Yeah, I think they're going to get lean with a non-speedster villain.
Yeah.
Hopefully Mirror Master shows up. I thought he was going to show up this season, but apparently not, unless he comes up in the next few episodes. But
yeah, I think that would be cool, like have a Mirror Master come. But if like let's say Gorilla Grodd is the main bad guy of season 3, like I would love to see like a 3 speedster action thing. You know?
Yeah, I mean, in the final episode, given now how much stronger Zoom is with Barry's Speed Force, it could take 3 speedsters to bring him down. Or even 2.
Yeah.
Plus Cisco, as he starts getting more powerful with his vibeness.
True.
I do want to see him start breakdancing, though. Because in the comics, Vibe is a pretty avid breakdancer. But that's all I got for this.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Follow us on Twitter. I am at Less Than Connor.
I'm at Rick Pat Mick. Our show is at Awesome Sun Show.
Yeah. Subscribe. Follow us. Do what you got to do. Even if you don't like comics, find a friend that does like comics. Like, hey, you should listen to the show.
Yeah. And now we're doing other content that isn't comics related too.
Yeah.
So don't forget to listen to that.
Yeah. That's a part of Us and Sunday Show and the Couch Review, which Matt has been on both shows. I think you might be the only person who's been on both, actually.
Not including me.
Obviously. Well, not a guest. I mean.
Yeah.
Guest. You are the other half of the show.
Duh.
Now you're making me feel bad, Pat. So here, Matt, say hi real fast.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. We should just end on that.
All right. See ya.